Hello! Today we're gonna do a wrap up of autumn books because I don't want to wait for Vlogmas. I want to nicely have a clean slate. I actually have to refilm this because I lost the footage, so yay me. So let's start with the books that you guys probably won't care about because they are either companion books or part of a series, but I'm basically going one by one through the autumn book list. Is gonna be super short. New season of Hilda is coming on Netflix, and I got a companion book which just generally speaks about world of Hilda, and I think I'm going a bit crazy with having too many of them, but I really adore this map. It literally tells you where each character lives, and that's gorgeous. Next ones are the graphic novels, and there are two of them that I was reading a series. One of them is called Cat Gamer, and the volume 3 came out, and it is about the employee who usually is not very social, but she does a lot of computer games, and she adopts a cat, and she's basically trying to raise her cat as if she's leveling it up. But basically, it's very cozy. It's more like a cozy slice of life graphic novel or manga, more even so. Next one is Lore Olympus, the volume 5, and it always gives me the best vibes, and I'm always keen to see the next number. Just for those who don't know, it's a story about a Hades and Persephone love story retelling, let's say, and generally it's about Greek gods and the pantheon in a modern world and sort of modern setting. So there are some jokes and references. It's lovely. It's beautiful art. It is available on Webtoon, but basically is now being released as books. For example, that's art. And you see Persephone and Hades in here. Let's go into graphic novels that are new for me. Let's next go for one of the graphic novels that made onto my recommendations. It's called Fangs. It's mostly short, little inserts of almost jokes made into graphic novels, based on a vampire and werewolf relationship. The art is very cute and wonderful, and I personally loved it. I know it's not up to everyone's standard. Author Sarah Anderson, you might know her, Sarah Scribbles, where she does more scribbly type of inserts for silly comedy, let's say. So here the art is kind of like this, and wonderful, really, references for vampire and werewolf problems. um, Further, I basically before I was thinking that I really want to do a month of graphic novels, so that's why a lot of graphic novels collided into this several months. Nera and the Jinn is a story about a girl who finds out that she's sort of aligned with a Jinn. It has sort of references of the culture. The timeline is related to Ramadan, and it's mainly a story about, I believe, friendship. I think it was very, very unique. Art was beautiful. It is definitely something to think about if you are quite big into graphic novels and you haven't heard about this one. I usually like to share the art, so like just to have a feel, this is a part of art that you have in this book. Next one is another one that exists on Webtoons. It's called Crumbs. It's about a witch and a sort of romantic interest of hers. She has a ability of predicting future. However, she can be a little bit of a bummer because she keeps putting herself down because she's like, I already know how it's gonna end. We can't fix this. Da, 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 da. But basically, it's quite slow paced. Again, a bit cozy. Art is also beautiful. Just to share, this is the style we have it entire thing in. It's nice to read, but I felt like I didn't quite get into the story necessarily in the same way to follow but I definitely appreciated the art and the sort of general feel of it. Pumpkin heads. Obviously, it was the season pick, and everyone always says this gives them very good vibes to read in autumn. I want to agree with that because it's about let's say two teens who sort of are helpers in the of like a corn maze type of area where or pumpkin field area, and you can get all the sort of feels of autumn in this, like pumpkin spice lattes and corn mazes and whatnot. So because it's literally revolves on these small nuggets of feels, and it's just a cozy slice of life again. Okay, Zatan and the House of Secrets, a graphic novel. It was again something I never seen. I always get very interested if something is more unique for me. Um, Art is beautiful, and basically, I'm a big fan of cartoons. It feels like a cartoon. It's about a girl who lives in a magician's house, and she discovers sort of some of its secrets. Let's say. Um, I feel like the story was a bit too light and sort of quick, as you can tell. Is very thin. Um, but like again, I appreciated the setting and the art, and that really sometimes does it for me. Song of the Sea. Song of the Sea is actually a graphic novel of the animation. If you have seen like this is the same studio that done I forgot the name, something about Kells and Wolfwalkers, and it's a Secret of Kells. But basically, it is very peculiar, unique art style, and I thought I wanted to get this just for that art style alone, because in the picture book like that, in a graphic novel, you can actually zoom in and observe the details. It's really hard to show you very um nice images, but basically what really captivates me on it, that if you see that, for example, the tree has such a little like graphic lines and details, and every stone and whatnot have these little nuggets of details, and I really love it. It's very magical cartoon show, if movie. If you haven't seen it, you have to really put it on your background. This is regards to graphic novels. Now let's talk about more grown-up novels for a bit. So I read quite a few good novels. Most of them as audiobooks, but let me just run through them with you. So first of all, let's start with the essay collection. It's called The Shadow Show. It's based on Ray Bradbury. I believe all the authors are probably big fans of him, because listening to it, you can basically tell which stories they are referencing to. It feels much darker than I remember Ray Bradbury, but like I say, you can feel these nuggets. It's basically meant to celebrate Ray Bradbury, I would say, but it is its own stories. House of Hunger, it went on my absolute recommendations. It's a story, a retelling of vampires, but not really in a vampiric way. It was book of the month for October because everyone was reading it last year, and I'm not big on horror. It was not. It was kind of realistic way of vampires. It's like all these rumors about historical people who like bath in blood or something. So they really drink blood to cure their illnesses, and you sort of believe it's some superstition rather than real vampires. They have these detachable fangs, and whatnot. And it's a story about Bloodmaid, who basically comes to work for such a house, which is called specifically House of Hunger, to give her blood and feed inhabitant of this house. Um, it starts almost like a competition between these bloodmaids to be the most favorite one, and also like kind of a romantic story to um, with this countess that we're feeding. But then it turns very dark, and I loved it. Characters are super strong. Like, it's such a good book. Characters are super strong. Both the Countess and Bloodmaid is very determined, have their own color and feel to it. The plot, basically, it's very good, and not, not expected end of it. I'm sorry if I spoiled too much, but I'm trying not to. But basically, the more I can talk about book, the more it impressed me. So it's a good recommendation if you're not averse to some sort of horror genre and vampires. Next one is What Moves the Dead, by T.G. Kingfisher. And it's another sort of creepy story, really. It's a story about this character that investigates the location, and specifically this other person who tells that his wife is dead, but she's functioning as if alive. That's really pretty much it. And they investigate the phenomena occurring in this location. It's written in very good style, I believe, in like, but the pace, like, you can feel that dullness, the grayness. You can feel it as a movie almost. You can feel how it would show. My problem is it's not typical story or movie I would watch. So basically, I believe it felt like a little bit of lack of that cooking and like colors in that sense, but it is very suitable for the story it is. So yeah, sure. So that's another one. Currently, I'm still listening to How to Murder Your Employer. It's a starts very boringly and dry. It literally starts like a manual, like you're opening a very boring manual book. It then goes into examples of people who fail to kill their employers. And then we go into the story. So I'm really still in the beginning, let's say, of it. Maybe one first third of it, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish it or DNA it, but it is very unique story. It's basically ends up being about this almost like a school of murderers. Well, you learn specifically how to kill your target successfully, and sure. So that we follow the character who basically gets whisked away into the school after failing to kill his employer. Let's jump into middle grades. In terms of middle grades, first of all, I picked the Swifts, which is basically about the family that pick the names for their children by opening a dictionary and picking a random word. So we follow a girl called Shenanigan Swift, and they all attending a memorial, let's say, of the auntie. And basically, the kids start to investigate it as a murder, and like what is with the names in the family, what is with this place, and so on. The most impressive thing of this book, and I don't know why I always say this, is a map. Because look at this, it folds, and it's beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. The insides are gorgeous, and obviously I got the sprayed edition, but also if you put it out of a sleeve, it's gorgeous by itself, just in a shelf. But obviously it's a middle grade book, and I had some fun with it. It's mostly about, because it's about the name, it's mostly about of expectations that people put in you, I would say. So here we are. Now, as you know, if you know, in my Patreon for November, we actually picked to read middle grade. So you were free to choose, everyone was free to choose their middle grades, and we had a little reading stream for middle grades, and I was telling about the books I'm reading. And generally, if you follow me on my Patreon, you get the recommendations first on generally every newsletter. You get the book club activity. You can help us pick the book and read along and read together. You get more streams, so we can, again, do either readathon or writing sprints and more, and so much more. But honestly, it's all open and very, very small cost of just pennies, really. I want to say, because it's not the goal to make money, it's more of the goal to open the way to for you to support me if you're interested. Now, but you don't have to. Now, the middle grades I read for this particular reason. First of all, was Mountain Fell, and it was sort of, I started reading it like more before I met that goal, and I finished it. It's about this area of Mountain Fell, and it's and the children will live like beyond it, and they know that the Mountain Fell is super scary place with all sort of mystical creatures, and Erskine, that is our main character, the sister of Erskine's, get whisked away by like a dragon. Um, I didn't quite enjoy it. I really hoped more from the monsters and whatnot. I didn't quite enjoy it, but because I felt for myself the breaks in between chapters were very broken. They were not as smooth as I would love. So that's just me, really, as a lot of times it is. Um, Next one is Vanquishers. So I picked this with another book because it was like buy one, get one half price. You still see the sticker. Again, wonderful sprayed edges. Wasn't quite interested in it, but basically shop person just said, "Oh, what about this book?" And I was like, "Fine, let's take it." Because I knew I need more middle grades anyway. So now it's about kids with interest in vampires. They investigate local strangeness, let's say. And at first, it just feels like they kind of imagine things like, oh, this person cannot enter, not invited, or the reflection might not be da 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 da. And we go through these sort of things one by one, but it doesn't quite feel like it's real. It feels like their imagination for me. Till in the end, in not in the end, we get a bit more of revelation of the history and the vanquishers that actually exist, and then they are kind of derivatives, and we have way too specialized interest in it. So we know it's the real world. So it sort of elevates it to higher fantasy, which probably I would like the casual, cozy one better, silly one better. But here we are. Next one. This made on my recommendations is Mary. Oh God, never can see this name. Miss Mary Kate Martin's Guide to Monsters: The Wrath of the Wellington Worm. It's about a girl who investigates monsters, and she's specifically interested in this Wellington worm. Yeah, and it's basically it. It's really light. It's beautifully written. I really liked it because it kind of gave me these vibes of Hilton. I'm a big fan. And just like made me very nice and butterflies and all that. Just cozy, and I'm gonna continue with the series probably. It's just understanding what sort of middle grade I want to write, and I know it's very niche. So some of the people might like the other sides that I mentioned, but this is just so sweet, and lovely. And then the most another big one was The Odds by Lindsay Puckett. Lindsay Puckett has a channel. She's wonderful. She did Glass Witch, which we've done sometime before, and so close next to it we have The Odds. So The Odds are middle grade again, which is based on characters that develop the oddities in themselves, like a special power. But they usually develop it by certain time in their birthday, because if they don't, they get snatched away by the odd hunters. And and we follow Begonia, who lives in a nursing home because she's sort of an orphan, where all these odds old people live, let's say, and she's few days before this birthday where she needs to get her power as soon as possible. Then she gets given a riddle of some sort that could trigger this discovery for her, and then it just follows the track of riddles and mysteries, and I love that sort of thing. And it was very light and nice, and really what you would expect from that story, except by the twist, which was wonderful as well. But it's pretty light. It's pretty light read, and nice to follow. And that is it. That is done with a wrap up. Now, if you follow my channel, we're gonna do Vlogmas, which I'm thinking of very toned down videos. Not every day, but I'm gonna try to do little snippets of some sort of artwork or something from every day and then collide them either weekly or twice weekly, depends on how busy I am. There might be some streams if I'm really, really busy and this is all I can do. Or there might be, read alongs as well. So honestly, I recommend following through because I am in a happy mood and I want to share the happiness, even if it's very toned down. We at least do all the sort of things that relate to season. Anyhow, thank you for joining today and I see you next time. Bye.